talk to you about the Utah Biomass Resources Group. It's a group we've been working together for about 3 years. It includes partners, well, you can see on the side of our van there, the Dragon Wagon van. We have partners from the Bureau of Land Management, from the USDA Forest Service, from Utah Department of Agriculture and Food, those of us at Utah State University Extension, Utah State University College of Natural Resources. Who am I missing? Anybody? I think that's most of us. Thank you. The Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah. Oops, no, that was bad. So yeah, we have lots of partners, and more than that, those are our main partners that we work with regularly. We get together every couple of months for a meeting, usually by phone for starters, and to keep things rolling. And we got a lot of different things rolling. Our goal is to help make biomass markets in Utah, create a value for wood chips, essentially, for small diameter logs and for wood that is otherwise not going to be used. And a lot of wood in places like this, the Bureau of Land Management and the Forest Service are harvesting lots of pinyon juniper and other forest types for fire hazard reduction and lots of other reasons, forest health. And a lot of times we're really limited how much we can do because it's very expensive. It costs $300 an acre on average to treat lands like the kind of treatment that you're going to be seeing today. But on the other hand, it costs $600 an acre or more many times to fight a wildfire. So if we can be ahead of the game and we can include that extra cost savings somehow into the economy of what we're doing, then it all really starts to make sense. But our challenge is, in the meantime, to make value out of this material that's been considered trash for so long. And there's a lot of different ways to make value out of that, and that's what we're working on. That's what I'm going to talk to you about here. So again, our goal is to create markets. So a local landowner can drive hopefully less than 35 or 40 miles, 50 miles at the largest radius, or have his contractor or logger or somebody like that with a truckload of chips and drop it off and get paid $35 a ton for that material is what we'd really like to see. We'd really like to see it $65 a ton, but right now we're kind of shooting for 35 for something that we can work with, at least a small radius from a central location. And we're taking about 4 different prongs or approaches to making that happen. One of them is continuing to encourage the traditional biomass utilization folks, the firewood harvesters, the people making posts and poles and things like that. And it's real active industry down here in Beaver. There's some really big players just south of us in Cedar City that are harvesting many acres of timber, both pinyon juniper and upland conifers every year. And most of that is going to firewood. They need this pretty soon. Right there. Sorry, but this guy's interrupting what's going on, okay? Where's your favorite thought? Hopefully we can get you back now. No problem. Ideally with a brush blade on it or some sort of a tractor, a track machine. So I love hiring those things on logging jobs. They really clean up landings better than anything, and that's huge. It's really important working on private lands because people, when landowners drive onto their property, inevitably they're driving into the landing. That's where they turn around. That's the wide spot in the road. And more often than not, that's where the ugliest slash pile on the property is left. So a machine like that can go a long ways towards cleaning it up. It could be even cleaner with pyrolysis and gasification technology that we're working on here at the Utah Biomass Resources Group. Gasification technology, one. Our demonstration of that is here. The Dragon Wagon project is what it's been named. Gasification is cooking the wood mostly in the absence of oxygen. There's a little bit of oxygen at not too hot of temperatures compared to the next process I'm going to discuss, which is pyrolysis. Here we're looking at about 800 degrees Celsius ideally for the wood. So we cook the wood and gas comes off. We feed the gas into a propane generator and that creates power. And that's the power we're going to see tonight for Utah's very first wood-fired concert. It's going to push the Muddy Boots Band. Our gasification expert and operator is Steve Walker. Steve, raise your hands. If you have technical questions, ask Steve. If you have more the foo-foo questions on the outside, I'd be happy to talk to you about it. So we're going to make power, make electricity. It produces about 7 kilowatts, which is enough for about 2 homes or a rock and roll show, hopefully. We're in experimentation here, all from pinyon juniper wood. The next technology that we're working on is called pyrolysis. Similar to gasification, a little hotter and less oxygen. It's cooking the wood. Again, we're not just burning the wood. This is not open burning. It's cooking the wood in the absence of oxygen. And in this case, with this extra heat that we produce, most of the heat comes off of the system, and is same for this, is self-generating. Started off with a little propane, but then it gets running by itself. And with pyrolysis, we have different, for gasification, we just have gas coming off pretty much is our main only product. And the only emissions from that is what comes off a generator, like it's a Briggs & Stratton generator, just like off your lawnmower, similar emissions. Pyrolysis, again, higher temperatures, cooking the wood more. We have little gas coming off to feed the system, similar to this. We have 2 main products. We have biochar, which is a soil amendment. It's charcoal, essentially. A lot of value. Some are claiming as much as $3,000 a ton right now for biochar. So high value product there. And we have a bio oil, and we're working on markets for the bio oil. There's lots of different things that we can do with it. We have potential right now. Tooele Army Depot is interested in using it to heat their facility today. So, so we have those 2 products coming off of the pyrolysis machines. And right now, this is just a vision. And share with me my vision of every slash pile in the woods, like the ones that we're going to create today. You see this trailer, a self-contained trailer of pyrolysis, a rotary kiln pyrolysis machine, and we have the inventor here in the crowd. Ralph, where are you? Ralph Coates, thank you very much. If you want more information about that, please talk with Ralph. And a machine that he's designed in Salt Lake City that we can scale up and put it on a tractor trailer truck and pull onto the landing, self-contained. And out of the woods we have densified biomass, which is the whole trick. Because you can't it's hard to pay for biomass to come out of the woods because it's all air and water. So there's not a lot of energy density in there. So one of the goals, or the main goals that we're pursuing, is how to densify it to get it out of the woods, so you're not just hauling air and water, fluff. And so we can self-contained trailer, cleanly takes out oil, cleanly takes out char, both sellable products, and moves on to the next slash pile. So we're working on that. Another thing that we're working on, many of you heard presentations about, is with another type of pyrolysis, making higher value products. Through the pyrolysis thing, take that oil and then make plastic out of it. We heard a presentation yesterday from Foster Agbavor, and I've held in my hand plastic that he's made from wood, from Utah woods. And man, I think we could change the world a little bit if we could make plastic with wood. That's incredible. And other high value products. And the goal is we pay for the whole kit and caboodle with these high value products. And all this other work we're doing on energy, that we can just give that away. That just kind of happens if we can make our buck on the higher value products. So we're working in all these different directions. And finally, our bigger, at the same time, is education about all these different things. It's happenings like this, working with Lance and Michelle and others around the state to help spread the word, presenting at various conferences. I use my newsletter, the Utah Forest News, to help spread the word. If you're interested in this, you'll get constant updates in the Utah Forest News, a quarterly publication from Utah State University. And just see me and get me your email address, and I'll put you on our mailing list. Happily for that. We've done lots of radio, or several radio and some TV promotions about it. The field days, hands-on, and the Dragon Wagon is one of our main demonstration products. So that's the UBRG and what we're doing and where we're going, and in kind of a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions? Sure.
Do you find when you do something like this, do environmental groups want to bring any kind of action against this? Is it stopped kind of like logging is once in a while? Or is it friendly to all?
You know, we haven't had a lot of direct conflict to this point. But often when I'm discussing these topics and what we're trying to do, people will ask me, what if you're successful? what if you hit a home run and actually we want this wood? And they're right that, you know, we could get to that, but it's not that energy dense of a product. And right now, most of it's just sitting in a pile and burning up. So at this point, I think we have pretty strong arguments against that worry, because we're pretty far from that point. But it's something we're going to face eventually. I hear Mark over here like, is that mean my time's up?
You got plenty of time. No, another question.
So
I'm just curious, is there any difference in the value between what we got here that's all live and, you know, the stuff that burned up a few years ago that's just still sitting out there?
the stuff that's sitting out there, the folks that work with this material find that it gets hard as a rock. And it's really hard to chip, really hard to handle after it's been set, and the pinyon juniper in particular. And somebody asked me this morning about what happened, you know, more in an upland conifer forest if it burns. If you get it soon after it burns, there's still value, potentially full value in the saw logs there. You can still
So
saw
basically,
condition
that
longer.
stuff that's burned out there is
It's going to be really hard
about
to
it.
ever find value for that material. That's what we're trying to do. Just right here is kind of far away, and that's way far away.
You know, Darren, I might also add that material wouldn't have the value added of the treatment itself that we're trying to accomplish.
That's right. Does that make sense? That
Yes.
it's already reduced its own it's a fire break in its own right, you know, because all the fuels have gone out of it. They burned up, so it's fire safe right now. So Aaron points out that's not the kind of thing that we're trying to accomplish on the ground. But good question. Thanks for asking that. Any others? Ted?
Darren, what's the status of the pyrolysis technology as far as plans for deploying a trailer out into woods?
Looking for money. That's the
In the hunt.
what's the at least we could pull it off for $300,000 is what and Tad, introduce you across the crowd to Ralph Coates, Tad Mason. You guys talk later. Please pursue that conversation because you could have it way beyond what I could add.
It's a great concept. It makes a lot of sense.
I'd love to see it happen, and we think we've broken a few barriers to get us to that step. And so we're pursuing funding actively right now for that level of money so we can have a demonstration unit to get folks aware of what can be done that way. Thanks
Any
for
other
asking.
questions for Darren?
Patrick?
I just had one quick comment to the gentleman in the blue shirt talking about the concerns of environmental groups. And I work for the Dixie National Forest in the timber program, so I get the opportunity to work with our environmental constituents. And my response to that would be that this forest, the way that it is right now, is not in a natural condition. So the work that we're doing here today is active restoration. We're not trying, one of the things we're trying to do is to generate forest products, but we're also trying to make restoration cheaper and more affordable for the federal government to do on these lands. So
Absolutely. The goal, I mean, the more success we can do with this, the more acres we can treat. Thank you for interjecting that. Tonight I'm calling it a wood-powered concert. I've been tempted to call it a restoration-powered concert. Chuck?
Well, Darren, another thing about this is that the seed bank is so rich right now. We're on about a 30 or 40 year rotation. So, yeah, we're cleaning it up and restoring watershed value now, but it's going to go right back to what it is.
Right. Good point.
Yeah, it's got to be an ongoing process for the restoration.
Yeah, it's a
And-
crop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
So, and the chips that Darren's going to use tonight actually came from here. Well, not this site right here, but across the freeway. As you're driving up, you can see all that newly cleared area. You know, we did 250, 500 acres over in that area. And so the wood chips are going to come from here to power.
So one of my visions possibly, imagine pulling up to the gas pump, like you pull up to the produce aisle. The produce aisle now has local and organic food. And you pull up to the gas pump and you have local, organic, and secure gasoline.
Sustainable.
Sustainable, there you
Yeah.
go. Anything else? Thank you very much.
Let's give Darren a big round of applause.